Imagine this: you're on a project team. The deadline is looming. Everyone feels the pressure. You work late, you cut corners, you tell yourself it's just this once, you hit the deadline, you breathe a sigh of relief. But that close call becomes a new starting point. The next deadline, you push a little further. Think of the frog in the pot. If you drop a frog in boiling water, it will jump out immediately. But if you put it in lukewarm water and slowly raise the temperature, the frog won't notice the gradual change. This is what normalization of deviance can feel like: a slow, insidious process. It can erode trust, compromise safety, and ultimately lead to disaster. Deviance isn't always criminal. It's about straying from norms, bending the rules, and accepting a lower standard. Think about your daily life. Have you ever jaywalked because everyone else was doing it? Or told a little white lie to avoid an uncomfortable situation? In the workplace, it might be fudging numbers on a report or turning a blind eye to unethical behavior. In our personal lives, it could be cheating on a test or lying on a resume. These small deviations, if left unchecked, can create a culture of complacency, a culture where everyone is cutting corners and no one is held accountable. Think about the Challenger space shuttle disaster. The engineers normalized the deviance, and the result was a catastrophic failure. The term normalization of deviance was coined by sociologist Diane Vaughan in her analysis of the Challenger disaster. Vaughan argued that the disaster wasn't caused by a single catastrophic error. Instead, it was the result of a gradual erosion of standards. This normalization happens gradually. It often starts with a seemingly insignificant deviation. Maybe it's a deadline that's pushed back or a safety regulation that's ignored. If the deviation is successful, it becomes easier to justify. Over time, these small deviations accumulate. They become part of the organizational culture. New employees see these deviant behaviors as the norm and adopt them. And so the cycle continues. The workplace is a fertile ground for the normalization of deviance. The pressure to perform, meet deadlines, and exceed expectations can create an environment where cutting corners seems like the only option. Take, for example, the Wells Fargo scandal. Employees were under immense pressure to meet unrealistic sales goals. To do so, they opened millions of unauthorized accounts in customers' names. This blatant fraud was a direct result of the normalization of deviance. The pressure to succeed had become so great that unethical behavior became normalized. Think about the construction worker who doesn't wear his safety harness because it's just this once. The consequences of these actions can be devastating. It erodes trust, undermines morale, and creates a culture of fear and silence. The good news is that the normalization of deviance isn't inevitable. We can fight it, we can reclaim our sense of right and wrong, but it takes awareness, courage, and a commitment to speaking up. First, we need to recognize the signs. Are we making excuses for bad behavior? Are we accepting lower standards than we used to? Next, we need to create a culture of accountability. This means setting clear expectations, providing regular training, and rewarding ethical behavior. Most importantly, we need to encourage a culture of open communication. Let's start a conversation. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.